As a preface to the episode for April 3rd, 2023, I'd like to mention that I typically get these episodes ready the day before. As I'm working on the episode for April 3rd, we're in an interesting configuration of actual and potential weather here in Fort Worth. So far, we're fine, but I'm concerned about whether or not I'll be able to finish a fresh new episode for you. For that reason, I'm going to recycle a previous episode. The sound quality isn't great, and it doesn't have a song, so my apologies there. Meanwhile, y'all pay attention to the weather conditions where you are, and stay safe, as we are doing.
Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for April 3rd. April 3rd is the 93rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 94th day in leap years, with 272 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is snoot. Snoot can be a noun or a verb. As a noun, it can mean a snob, or a nose, or a snout. As a verb, it can mean to treat with disdain. This word comes to us from German-Dutch origin as a variant of snout, and the earliest documented use of the word snoot is 1861. And with that, we're going to start in the year 1778, when Pierre Bretonneau was born on April 3rd. He was a French doctor and a real pioneer of modern medicine. He believed in what he called morbid seeds that spread specific diseases from person to person. He performed the first successful tracheotomy in 1825. He distinguished between scarlet fever and diphtheria in 1826, and he identified typhoid fever. He was the first one to think that disease was caused by bacteria in 1855, but he didn't have a microscope available to him, so he was unable to confirm this hypothesis. He lived to the age of 83. This is the birthday of American short story writer, essayist, biographer, and historian Washington Irving, born April 3rd, 1783. He's best known for his short stories Rip Van Winkle and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, although he also wrote other things. Those are the things that he's most known for. He lived to the age of 76. On April 3rd, 1860, the first Pony Express mail traveling by horse and rider relay teams simultaneously left St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California. On April 3rd, 1882, one of America's most famous criminals, Jesse James, was shot to death by one of his own gang members, Bob Ford, who did it for the reward money. Jesse James was 34 at the time of his death. On April 3rd, 1885, Gottlieb Daimler was granted a German patent for his engine design. Daimler. Yeah, way back then. Yeah. This is the birthday of American actor and stuntman Iron Eyes Cody, born April 3rd, 1904. Also known as the Crying Indian. He did claim to be Native American, and he looked it too. But it wasn't until after his death at the age of 94 that it was confirmed that he was actually of Southern Italian and Sicilian ancestry. The lovely and delightful American actress Doris Day was born on this day in 1922. She died in 2019 at the age of 97. My goodness, we've mentioned Marlon Brando a few times, and here it is his birthday too. April 3rd of 1924. He had an interesting career in the movies and lived to the age of 80. This is the birthday of American colonel, pilot, and astronaut Gus Grissom, born April 3rd, 1926. I may have mentioned in a previous episode that I actually met some of his family when I lived up in Oklahoma. Bruno Hauptmann, convicted of kidnapping Lindbergh's son, was executed on April 3rd, 1936. On April 3rd, 1948, U.S. President Harry Truman signed the Marshall Plan, which authorized $5 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars in aid for 16 countries in Europe. This aid was provided on a per capita basis, which meant that countries with more people got more aid, and countries with fewer people got less aid, because, it was per capita. On April 3rd, 1956, the western half of the lower peninsula of Michigan was struck by a deadly F5 tornado. Martin Luther King delivered his "I've Been to the Mountaintop" speech on April 3rd, 1968. Martin Cooper of Motorola made the first handheld mobile phone call to Joel Engel of Bell Labs on April 3rd, 1973. Now, being that time of year, a tornado outbreak known as the 1974 super outbreak occurred on April 3rd, 1974. This was the second biggest tornado outbreak in recorded history after the 2011 super outbreak. The death toll in the 74 event was 315, with nearly 5,500 injured. Bobby Fischer refused to play in a chess match against Anatoly Karpov on April 3rd, 1975, giving Karpov the title of the world champion by default. The Osborne 1, the first successful portable computer, was unveiled at the West Coast Computer Fair in San Francisco on April 3rd, 1981. We've talked about the Unabomber before. He was a brilliant Luddite with mental health issues who built bombs and mailed them primarily to targets associated with universities and airlines. The Unabomber was arrested on April 3rd, 1996. On April 3rd, 2010, Apple Incorporated released the first generation iPad, a tablet computer. And I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. Our lovely outro music is Divine Life Society by Jesse Gallagher from the YouTube Music Library, and there's also a link to his channel in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others using a link in your email, messaging, or social media. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. So I'm just going to read it over one more time. I'm going to have my drink over here. It's a pretty coffee mug. Okay, do that again. Let's make that more distinct. We've got a little wasp building a nest up there.
Looks like it, don't it?
Yeah. If it's even going to make it to the video, we'll just see.
That's not going to go.
Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.